just had a cool new announcement recently that they promoted Andrew Caldwell to the CEO, and Doug Witcher will still be involved as chairman of the board, but just an awesome move for them, and it just shows that they've got their finger on the pulse, and they're doing some big things, and Andrew's got so much up his sleeve that he's going to be able to do and continue to provide more and more value to smart choice agents and prospects down the road. So be on the lookout for some really cool stuff coming out from them as they continue to be a force in the industry. Also, my good friends over at Canopy Connect, man, they are a game changer when it comes to all the things that they do, whether it's intake forms, collecting data, collecting loss runs, deck pages, you name it, they can do it. They're more than just a one-click solution. They are a true partner for your agency to help your prospects and your client experience to be that much better. Go to usecanopy.com/Heath and check it out. Please make sure you do that. Check them out and check out Smart Choice. Now, guys, again, I want to do a quick episode today. It's been a whirlwind of a couple of weeks, so I haven't had time to really get a lot of things edited or recorded for this week, but I do have some good episodes coming up down the line. As you guys may have seen or know, if you know me at all, we've had a death in the family. We buried my father-in-law not too long ago. I don't know when you're listening to this, and it's caused me to be out a little bit, and I appreciate all the people that reached out to me, all the prayers, all the thoughts, all the flowers and the gifts and the whatnot that you sent to my wife and I. It means the world to us and to me personally, so I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words and the prayers for my wife and her family. But life goes on, and we are trying to do that the best way we can with upcoming conferences and conventions that we're both traveling to and speaking at. Again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the kind words and the prayers and the all the things. So recently, I was able to travel with Stacy to Las Vegas for the Agents Brokers United conference, and had a really good time and got to meet a lot of new people and network and really have a good time. And it was a welcome distraction, so to speak, for Stacy and I from the events that transpired and the things that I had just talked about. So it was a lot of fun there, but I was also able to learn a lot, from some really cool keynote speakers. I got to meet a lot of fun people at the trade fair and some of the networking events. Just a lot of fun and a lot of good time out there. So, there were speakers like Billy Williams, Ryan Hanley, Cody Houck, myself, my good friend Marcus Ogden, and we just had such a really good time. And Cassidy Arbelli was there. If I'm pronouncing her name right, if not, I'm sorry, I butchered that. But just truly learned an awful lot there, and so thankful that I was able to do that. And, I was able to share my heart. It was pretty raw and pretty transparent. And, it was one of those things that coming right off of burying my father-in-law several days prior to that, it gave me some opportunity to really have some perspective and think. And I didn't want to do a PowerPoint. I didn't want to do anything flashy. I just wanted to get up and just talk from my heart about some things that I had been thinking about and preparing for on that stage. So one of the things I just wanted to share with you guys, just some things, and I'm going to try to release the entire keynote on the podcast, but just some highlights from that. I really wanted to share in my thought processes in my heart about the customer journey and about customer experience and all the buzzwords that go along with that, whether you call it CX or customer experience or journey or whatever it might be. I really do feel like as an industry, we're lacking in some ways in that. And I think that we can learn from a lot of other industries out there that are affecting our customers and are training our customers for that matter. But for my keynote, what I wanted to focus on was, and what I titled my keynote was Out of Service. And I say that not because of just saying that our industry is out of service when it comes to the CX or the customer journey, but more when I talk to agents, it's almost like we make the sale, and so many times we think, oh, now I service. What I want to challenge you guys, and challenge whether you're on the company or the agency side or a tech vendor for that matter, I want to challenge us to think about it from a standpoint of leading with service and growing our business and growing our sales and growing our pipeline and building relationships out of service, not the other way around. And I really built a framework of that and just wanted to talk about that while we were in Vegas. And we had a really good conversation there, and I really felt like the message was well received. And I'm so thankful for those that were there and that gave me such positive feedback there. And again, I want to release the entire keynote someday so you guys could be able to hear it and tell me your feedback on that as well. And I really do feel like the message is something that I'm very passionate about. And so just to share with you guys, like any good former Baptist preacher or whatnot, I wanted to share kind of my 3 points from that. And again, not to get too deep into it because I do want to release the whole thing, but I think the 3 main points to this model of service first is, number 1, building relationships. Number 2 would be being proactive in our approach. And number 3 being providing a real value beyond just, the level of expectations that our customers have on us, but more of going beyond that and being proactive. And I talked about how I get the opportunity to talk to agents on a regular basis, and industry professionals in general, for that matter, on a regular basis through podcasts and webinars and things I do with Vertifor. And, I hear most often when I ask the question of what sets your agency apart, so many times it's the same thing. It's, we provide excellent customer service. And when I probe deeper into that, so many times it's met with the same answer of like, when the phone rings, I pick up the phone. If they need a certificate, I get it done. We have great processes for that. And we have, great workflows for that. And we get that certificate done immediately. And, we have this technology, we have that going on. Or, when they call and they need a endorsement, or they need a new vehicle, or they need this done or that done, I drop everything I'm doing and get it done. And we have these great workflows and great technology for that. Or, my favorite one is when I talk to agents and they tell me, I sleep with my phone underneath my pillow at night so that if my clients need me in the middle of the night, if they have a claim or anything, I'm there and I can answer. But guys, if you think about that, what that is no more than just being an order taker. That's no more than just reactive customer service. That's reactive client experience. And I really feel like our customers wanting more. Your clients are wanting more. They want you to delight them, but they want you to go beyond that and really be proactive and provide a real value. And that's going to help you to grow that relationship, going back to those 3 points. And so I talked about that in Vegas and what that meant. And we had, like I said, a really good discussion about some of that. And I felt like, it was well received. And I just wanted to share part of that with you guys today and maybe provide a little bit of content for you today based upon that. And going back to some of those gold standard companies that are providing our customers today with a client experience that maybe we're missing out on. I talked about Chick-fil-A. I live directly across from a Chick-fil-A. And it's obviously amazing because it's God's chicken. I mean, come on now. And waffle fries are great. And the Chick-fil-A sauce and those milkshakes. Oh my gosh. In the wintertime, those peppermint milkshakes, come on, y'all. But beyond that, they meet you with that wonderful smile. They greet you with, the my pleasure. They, call you by name. They just go above and beyond to build that relationship, and they totally get it. And then, you think about Amazon. I told a story, and I'll tell it here on the podcast of like, we have one of those refrigerators that has the water filter that you have to change out every so often. And for so many years, I would get in the car every 90 days or so, or every, 6 months, whatever it was, and drive to the local hardware store, to Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it might be. And I would pick up a water filter and drive home and put the water filter in and change it and all the things. And I thought, man, I'm so tired of doing that. And one day I just looked on Amazon because, Amazon has everything, right? And so I go on Amazon, I order the new water filter. It comes to my door. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. So they save me time and they money and effort, but it goes beyond that. So I change out the water filter, do the things, and then, let's say 3 months later, the message comes up on their fridge, time to change the water filter again. So I go back into Amazon, I order the water filter for my Frigidaire, and lo and behold, there's a message that pops up in my Amazon cart that says, would you like to add this to recurring order? And I was like, yeah, that's a beautiful idea, Amazon. Why didn't I think of that? And so, they anticipated my needs. They put me on a recurring order, and now every 90 days I get a new water filter. Whether I need to change it or not, it's there. And now I've got, 2 or 3 built up, so I could probably stop the recurring order. But again, they anticipated my needs. They met me where I needed to be. They saved me time, money, energy, effort, all those things. And, I think we need to be that way in our customer service. We need to be proactive. We need to anticipate the needs of our clients. And we need to grow out of service. Not service out of sales, but we need to grow our business and grow our sales out of service first. And this framework has really been on my heart and this passion of mine for years. And I just wanted to share some of that with you guys today, as well as the couple hundred people that were in the audience in Vegas. And I'm really passionate about it. And it's something that you'll continue to hear me talk about as I develop this and think through this a little bit more. And maybe have some more interviews around that and talk about that a little bit, because I just really think it's important to our industry that we get this right and that we kind of get out of this whole sleazy sales mentality. And I think for years it's been noted that the top 2, quote, sleazy sales jobs out there is car salesman and insurance. And I've got to get us out of that. We're a service industry, and I think we need to service better to our clients. So, I want us to think about this, and I want you to think about it in the standpoint of what if instead of waking up every day looking to sell somebody, we look to service somebody instead? Or if we thought about every day instead of, let's focus on, the sales and the X dates and the pipeline, and, we need this and we need that, and, we need driver's lists and we need VIN numbers and all the things. What if instead of that, we focus on the needs of our customers? So I just wanted to, bring that to light today and just talk about that on the podcast. But also, the other thing that was special for me was at the end, the last couple of minutes of my keynote, I wanted to bring attention and highlight my father-in-law, or my late father-in-law. And he was a man who was not just an insurance agent for 20 plus years, or agency owner for however many years, and didn't have the greatest book ever and all that kind of stuff. But he was a mentor. He was a friend. He was my father-in-law. He was someone that meant a lot to me and the industry and his clients, for that matter. Countless times, my wife and I, and the family were up at visitation, and people would just come up and shake our hands. And I heard more and more stories from his friends, his customers, his community, of just the type of person he was. But he served first, and he led with service. And I thought it was pretty fitting, and it was kind of a God thing for me to hear this when I've been developing this keynote for several months now. And when he passed, what was the legacy he left behind from so many was how he served them, whether it was, his customers in that way, or people in the community that said that he would help them with, school supplies, or he would help them with rolling up his sleeves and getting to work in a service project. Or I had a guy come up to me and was like, man, one time I just needed help baling hay, and Tommy was there to help me do that. And there was times of just over and over and over people coming up there and telling us stories about how much he served first. And that meant a lot to me to end with that. And I wanted to end this podcast with telling that, and just for you to think about the legacy that you're leaving right now. Are you building a legacy, building your agency based out of service? And I hope that you can say yes. And if not, I hope you can build a plan to try to do that, because I think that's the way that we win moving forward in the industry. Guys, thank you so much for giving me just a few minutes to talk from my heart today on the podcast. And I appreciate all the feedback. And those that want to, my email address, again, is Heath@Insurance Town Podcast. My cell phone number is 501-908-2395. Feel free to leave any comments, feedback, anything like that. Again, I appreciate you more than you know, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one.